better. You want to spread your pony knowledge wide. Oh, better. I got a place where winning ain't tough to do. You wanna be cool, stable do. Your horse racing fantasy come true. But no, Stable Duel. Download the Stable Duel app and play today.
You know when you hear Joey Cleveland that we're coming up soon. You know we're coming up soon when you hear that Stable Duel theme song. We've got Matt DeSantis. We've got the Sniper, who's coming in and out of, I think, parts unknown, as you said. Matt, we're wrestling fans, so sometimes when you have like the mysterious wrestler, they come from parts unknown. That's where Barry is residing from today.
All right, there he is.
Yeah.
All right.
You know,
there we
just
go.
had to, you know, it's funny. The audio problems I was having is because this headset was a Bluetooth for another computer. So when I was getting on, I was hearing something else.
It was configured.
And not you guys. You're right. And I couldn't
Yeah.
I couldn't speak, but I think I got it fixed.
Yeah.
Well,
Sound good.
Clearly. Thank you.
we
You guys
are
look
very-
good too.
Oh,
By the way.
Appreciate that. We're very excited to be here with you all every Friday morning. Our job is to get you set up for the big weekend Stable Duel games. And it's a good time to sort of remind everybody what Stable Duel is. If you've stumbled onto this stream and you weren't quite sure, or maybe you've seen us talk a lot of horse racing, Stable Duel is a fantasy style horse racing game. You're playing into horse racing contests, and right now with football starting, I think a lot of people out there know about daily fantasy. If you think about like DraftKings and the way that those games are, the format of those games with a salary cap where you have to build a lineup, where you cannot just use the best or the most expensive or the top horse in every race, just like you can't use the most expensive wide receiver and quarterback and running back to build your lineup. So it's not as if everyone can go out there and just pick all the most likely winners all the way through. You really have to use your handicapping skill and your prowess, and you have to pick races where, hey, I don't like that favorite there. I'm going to try to beat the favorite in this race. It's, you know, think about how you're formulating your pick fours and pick five tickets too. You're not always just going to go favorite all the way through. So Matt, what do we have this weekend for Stable Duel games? Let's tell everybody what's on the Friday schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. So this Friday, we have 4 tracks that are on the schedule: Gulfstream Park, Del Mar, Horseshoe, Indiana, and Delaware Park. At Gulfstream, we actually have a free contest. So if you don't want to put any money in the game, if you just want to, try this out, it's your first time, it's a great opportunity. Free game, but real money winnings, $30 to the winner. And then also a $20 game with 3 entry limit, I should say. At Del Mar today, we have a $40 game with a 3 limit entry with a $2,000 pot. At Horseshoe, Indiana, we have a $6 game with a 3 entry limit. So another nice low dollar opportunity for people to get started. And then another one at Delaware Park where you could go big or little, $3 game or a $35 game. So a lot of opportunities at the different tracks today on Stable Duel.
Yeah, you have Delaware, Indy, Gulfstream, and Del Mar, that free ride at Del Mar. So when we talk about free games, they're games that don't cost you anything to enter. There's no like deposit fee or anything like that. You don't even have to put in any entry, and it doesn't cost you anything to download the Stable Duel app. So it's completely free. If you want to play in free games, you can do so, and you're actually playing for cash prizes. And so if you win a little bit of money back, then you have money in your account, and then you can play into some of the cash entries. I pretty much guarantee if you play in one of the free games, though, you're going to want to start to play in a couple of the other games, and you're going to get some money involved. So Lots happening Friday, Saturday. Our focus will be Gulfstream, Del Mar, and Kentucky Downs. So Gulfstream, for you, my friend, the Sniper, we're going to get a chance to bring a home cooking back for you here on Friday. So why don't you start at Gulfstream Park? I believe you've got races 3 and 7 at Gulfstream on Friday, and then Matt's going to take us to races 6 and 7. So let's go 3, 6, and then we'll both hit on 7.
All right. Sounds like a plan. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You sound great, and we're going to head to race 3 for Friday.
So, I mean, this is a starter allowance, kind of tough race, a tough condition actually, because you're getting horses from all over the place. It's an allowance, $25,000 starter allowance race, purses 32,000 on the main track. And obviously the dirt races are kind of half and half with synthetic at this point. But this is a pretty good salty group here. You got a horse that's going to be favored in Pudding, who, you look at his PPs, he's just pretty stellar. I mean, he's tough, hard knocking. He takes the show on the road. He's been to Tampa, won there in a state bred sprint stake. But I think he might be a little bit vulnerable here because I don't believe there's all that much speed. And the two speed horses that are in this race, the ones I can't even pronounce that. Scrooge.
Go. I just
Go.
go.
Yeah. That horse, he seems.
It sounds like something that Jay and Silent Bob would say. Ski. I was like, what a CKY.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like the Jackass guys. You know what I mean? Like it just sounds like a noise that somebody would have made. Yeah.
So that horse has a ton of speed on the rail, and then the other one is Yes I'm a Beast, who's actually coming off a layoff from July 2nd, and he kind of fell off form. Was in a grade 3, lost to Pudding and Willie Boy that day, who are pretty good horses. I expect that horse to show a ton of speed, especially fresh off the layoff, only going 5. That being said, I think Uncork the Bottle, who's my pick, number 2, will get first run on everybody and hold off Pudding to win this one. 5-1 on the line, great for stable duel. You're right in the middle of the road, and playing through the windows, you should get your price here. 5-1, you probably will get, and I think this horse has a great chance to win.
He's as honest as they come, always shows up. So even if he's not a winner, he's a horse that's got that nice like running style to where he'll keep himself close, keep himself in striking range. Third star
has a rabbit too. He has a rabbit to run it. I mean, he's not going to be too far away from them, but he has a rabbit. And Yes I'm a Beast, and I think this horse might go off a little bit higher anyway. So
Uncork the Bottle, pop it, baby, pop it. Pour it.
It's Friday. You got to pop bottles, right?
Let's do it. So, Matt, I want to remind you before we get into your play for race number 6, you have a shout out to give. Someone that ran into you at the racetrack recently.
Yeah, so my mom and I were at Colonial Downs for the Virginia Derby on Tuesday, and I got to give a shout out to Dustin, who watches the show every Friday. He came up to me and he kind of said, "Hey, I was hoping to bump into you, and you're the first person I saw when I walked in."
Awesome.
And so he gave us a big shout out. Really loves the Friday shows. Really loves that we give out these long shots, and he plays stable duel a little bit, but he uses a lot of these just at the window.
Awesome.
And to place bets. So he just wanted to give a shout out to a loyal listener, and it was really nice meeting Dustin and his wife at the track on Tuesday.
Dustin, thanks so much for hanging out with us. We really appreciate you checking in with us each Friday. And hey, if you're ever watching, give us a comment, say hello to us. If you have a best bet you want to share with us on one of these days, we'd love to hear from you, and we'll give you a little shout out as well.
Absolutely.
So Matt, you head to race number 6 for Gulfstream Park on Friday. And remember, everyone, this is a free game. So even if you looked at Del Mar, you hadn't really looked at Gulfstream yet for today, you still have plenty of time. Maybe you can throw in a couple of these horses that we're going to give you, and you can put in a lineup, and it won't cost you a cent. You get some free action at Gulfstream. Maybe you can pick up $5-10 and have that for a free entry again next time out. So Matt, let us know who you're looking at in the 6th.
Yeah, so the 6th race is a $50,000 maiden claimer for 2-year-old fillies. And I feel like, we're back in our wheelhouse. We're at maiden claiming races at Gulfstream. This is where I like. This is where I'm happy.
This is where we live.
Very much.
It's a safe space right here.
It's a safe space, and it's a scene. And so I really like the far outside horse, the number 7, Toodaloo, y'all. And this is a race.
Can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
You got to do it like Mrs. Doubtfire.
It's too early in the morning for me to get my voice up that high.
So it can't go that high, is what you're saying.
Sometimes.
You just got to test it out. Yeah.
I don't have the Gino's falsetto. I don't have that. It's
Help
for the
us on the way, dear.
It's great. It's a great movie.
It is. Like, I just don't. It's so good. It's so funny and entertaining. And I don't, when you talk about the great Robin Williams movies, there was a thread going not long ago because I think it was the anniversary of his passing, but I don't think that one gets talked about enough. That is just one you can throw on in the background and it'll over and over, and it holds up. It really does.
It does.
Yeah.
Drive-by fruiting.
I know. Yeah.
I remember that.
And Brosnan is like the perfect guy that's going to steal the mom, right? Like that's the guy that's going to steal the mom. Like he looks like it. He feels like it. He exudes that like, it's great. It really is
great stuff. But Toodaloo, y'all, is also hopefully great stuff. And this is a race where, the favorite is At the Crossroads, who's going to cost you like $9,800 on Stable Duel. And just out of principle, I have a hard time spending $9,800 in a maiden claiming race. And so, especially for a horse that was beaten by 9.5 lengths last time out. Granted, there's a drop down in class for At the Crossroads from maiden special weight to a maiden claimer, but I still am I don't want to use this horse. So looking to the far outside, Toodaloo, y'all, at 6-1 is only going to cost you $5,000. I think there's a few things to like. First of all, with a lot of these maiden claimers, most of these horses don't have much experience. And so you go to the trainer intent. Kathleen O'Connell, a very trusted name down at Gulfstream, winning at 18% with horses and they're doing their first start, 17% with debut maiden claiming races. So I obviously like that. This is a horse that actually underneath, I really like the pedigree. Dixie Sovereignty is a dam that's actually created quite a bit of positive production. And actually 3 of her offspring have won races at Gulfstream Park. And so I
like
really
that.
Like
you know what I mean? Like I like looking at that kind of thing. I know sometimes with the pedigree, like, does it matter? Maybe it does. Like, I think it's a little more relevant that a horse ran at that like their mom or dad or their brothers and sisters ran at that particular track and got a little experience over it.
Absolutely. And I'm not one to harp on pedigree after horses run like 6 times, but because by that point you kind of know where they're
different. Right? I mean, if they're not doing anything different or a reason to really look at it, the first time going long, first time on the turf, whatever.
Sure.
Racing to me, and I think to all of us, is more important than pedigree. But it's a tool to be used, and it's something you put in your toolbox.
Absolutely. And especially when you're looking at first-time starters and you're looking at, the precocity of a horse, or you're looking at, like you said, where these horses have traditionally run and how well they've run, what they produce first out, et cetera. So I really like the dam underneath. And then additionally, you get the far outside post, which is something I actually really like with young horses. So you never want to be down on the rail, I think, on these sprints. So further outside, actually a little bit better. And you get an allowance jockey, you get a kind of an apprentice jockey. So you get a 7-pound weight allowance compared to the rest of the field, which for young developing horses might actually matter quite a bit. So I think there's enough things going on here that Toodaloo, y'all, at 6-1. I really like that value. $5,000 is going to be your average cost per horse in the Stable Duel salary cap lineup. So it keeps you kind of right on budget and right on target.
Yufa Janaya Doubtfire, dear. Yeah. Toodaloo as we continue on. And I think both of you have a play in the 7th race. Do we come together? We're going to the synthetic, 1.70 miles. Barry, where are you looking?
I don't think we're on the same horse.
Okay.
We could be, but I don't think so. This one's kind of out of the box, at least for me, or not even for me, but you know what I mean. I just don't think we're on the same horse.
All right.
I ended up on number 5, Pepito.
Yeah, we are on two different ones.
This race was really interesting. It's a 12,500 non-winners of 2. On the synthetic, going 1.70 miles. And I chose the 5 because if you look at his buyers, they're ascending each time out. You can go back to May 26th. And from that point on, his buyers have been going steadily up. And there's not much speed in this race. And that really kind of stood out to me. I don't think anybody really wants the lead. And I think this horse might end up being on the lead on a very slow pace and stretching out. This horse has been sprinting, primarily, now stretching out to 1.70 miles. I think this is just the right opportunity for this horse to kind of get to the lead or get really close to the lead in a very slow paced race and kind of just take him around there. There's nobody in this race that that scares me. His morning line is 10-1 for Pepito, and I think that's excellent in a race like this. That's kind of wide open.
Pepito. I don't. The name sort of with Pinocchio just came out. I feel like this is like
Right.
a Geppetto. Like this is something to do with this, right? I feel like
Yeah.
this is like a cousin of like Pinocchio or like a little brother. or
See, I was
something.
going with like an offspring of Pepe Le Pew.
There we
That's where
go.
I
There
was
You go.
going.
Oh no, we don't want that.
Yeah,
we don't want
doesn't,
that.
Barry doesn't love. Yeah, the
We don't
Pepe
want
Le
that.
Pew
We
race.
don't want
You just don't
that.
want that old running around there with your tail.
Right.
Yeah.
With your
Right.
tail up
No, I hear
race.
you. No.
Maddie, who are we looking at here?
So I'm on the 7 in this one, Silent Chaos. And this is one where if you don't mind pulling up the last race, Gino,
Sure.
I think the race replay really tells you a lot. And so this is a horse that had been kind of ascending, like Barry was saying. And this is a horse that's breaking from the far inside in this particular race.
Yep. So he's the
And
one.
yeah, is the one. You're going to be able to see him really nice. We're going to kind of watch the start, and then I'm going to ask you to kind of go closer towards the end of the race then. But they're off, and shows pretty nice early speed, and is in a decent position here, but then gets caught in the position that all three of us don't like, which is inside in the second flight.
Yeah.
And it's just the worst possible spot. And so, it's fine if something opens up, and it's fine kind of in some ways, but it presents problems later on.
You can see
So-
it. You can see it happening, right?
Yeah,
like
that's the
before it's
thing.
happening. Like the 4's about to get the positioning right in front of. You can just see it, and like then you get in that tight spot right there where you're trying to battle in front of the 4.
Yeah.
You got the 7
Yeah.
right up in front of you, and you're just at the mercy of what these horses can do.
Right, exactly. And so the one is kind of, and at this point now he's traveling pretty well, and they're moving up on the 3, and they're clumped together, but it's not so bad. But again, you're going to start seeing this, he's going to start making a move up here pretty close. And what's interesting is Pete Aiello on the call later on even says that Silent Chaos is full of run, but has nowhere to go. And so, it was pretty obvious to Pete. So here's the problem. The 3 starts backing up, and look what happens. And so
I'm
our
not
one
laughing at you. I'm only laughing because this feeling is just.
And so
when you're,
he can't go anywhere. He just keeps getting
It's
further
brutal.
back and further back and further back. And the 3 just keeps backing up. And then the 1 at this point, now he's all sorts of, now he's got to pick
and
up.
he's just shifting
And-
around.
And yeah, it's just the most uncomfortable looking ride down here. And just had him in trouble the whole way in some ways. I mean, just really, really tough ride.
It was.
And so that's one of those where, that was his worst buyer speed figure, actually even worse than his debut race. So I'm willing to kind of toss that last effort. And before that, he had actually been running in some higher level races and not necessarily doing
Because
great.
that was the drop down race where he's supposed to run well.
Exactly.
And you
Went
won't
off
even
as
get
the
a look
favorite.
at it.
Exactly. Went off as the favorite. This is a horse that's attracted money before. I just think that last race I can absolutely give him an excuse for, and I like him second back here in this at this class. And so 6-1, $5,000. I like using Silent Chaos here in race 7.
When you're sitting there on middle of the day, and you've already had 1 or 2 like bad results, and then you get like that trip.
Yeah.
You see your horse down there on the inside, and then you just it's playing out in front of you, and you're just like, I don't even get a chance.
Yeah.
Like,
You just
I
know
really
it.
don't-
Like,
I just don't
Yeah.
even get a chance here.
No.
And you're just smiling about it, like watching it, like I'm just gonna have to take this right now. And there's nothing I can do about this. It's brutal. A no shot trip there. So couple different plays for you. Gulfstream Park for Friday. Remember, there is a free game today. It won't cost you anything to enter. You can use a couple of these plays from Matt and from Barry as we head on over to Del Mar for Friday. So closing weekend, fellas. Although I did like that this weekend we're a little later for Del Mar than normal, right? It is nice to have another weekend of Del Mar in particular, because Del Mar was really good this year. Both of the meets, I will say, Saratoga had obviously great quality versus Del Mar having maybe the quantity and the racing. The fields have been a little bit better and a little more competitive. You don't get the top tier, maybe as many horse of the year candidates as you did at Saratoga, but we still did get to see an incredible Flightline performance where we don't talk a whole lot about the favorites winning big races like that, but wow, maybe just a quick second to reflect on on Flightline a little bit. Maddie, it's
Yeah.
pretty difficult to describe, him, because
It was devastating. I mean, it was watching, you just didn't know when you were watching it, what was he all of a sudden going to collapse? Like,
Oh, I
was he
know.
just, you kind of wondered, you're like, is that, and then you realize, Flavian shook the reins once.
And
And
that's
you
fair.
realize, like, no, he had plenty under him. Like, and I mean, Baffert, I know people's mileage varies on him, had a really funny line afterwards where he went up to Mike Joyce and he goes, "My horse is walking around thinking he won the race."
Yeah.
Country
Grammar was
finished,
because he was in his own race. It was like the morning
Right.
workouts.
Right. Country Grammar won the second race for the Pacific Classic by finishing 20 lengths back. But I mean, it was devastating. And I think looking forward, it'll be interesting to see the politics of the Breeders' Cup Classic this year, to see whether or not there are trainers and horses and ownership groups that decide to duck that race and go to the dirt mile instead because they just saw Flightline and they go, well, my horse has zero chance at winning this race. And so am I going to try to enter the dirt mile maybe and try to get a Breeders' Cup win in another way? And so that's going to be something to watch. But unbelievable race. And just, I do want to say another great race there over the weekend was the Del Mar Handicap between Masterpiece, Gold Phoenix, and Dicey Mochara. That was a really thrilling turf race at the end as well. So some blowouts and some close races.
That was the Sniper with Gold Phoenix, and I had Dicey Mochara. So turning for home, we were right against each other. Dicey Mochara cuts the corner, and I've got it at like 15-1. I think he went off at like 12-1, and he actually had the lead kind of for a minute when he cut the corner, and then Masterpiece and Gold Phoenix were right there in the mix too. So that was a great call by the Sniper there last week over at Del Mar. Let's head to Del Mar for Friday. Matt, you're looking at races 2 and 6. Barry's going to go 4 and 8. I'm also in race number 2. So Matt, tell us who you're looking at in the second. To remind everyone, on Friday, Del Mar has a $40 game with $2,000 prize pool. So fun, $40. You can make some serious money turning this $40 entry into a top finish in this contest. What are you looking at in race number 2?
Yeah, in race number 2, I'm on the 2. Dream.
Oh, we're on the same horse, Maddie.
Oh,
Here we
right.
go.
All right, there we go.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Talk to us about Dream a Dream.
Not quite our law professor lock of the week. Our boy, shout out to our boy law professor. Who went
Oh,
to
that was a
Downs
good one for him. Yeah.
Got that law professor.
Oh, yeah.
Money, so that's good. But Dream a Dream at 8-1 is only going to cost you $3,000 on the morning line. This is a horse that just got off slow last time and then just slowly made up ground. This is a sort of running line I actually really like to watch in maiden efforts. Broke just dead last and was 8.5 lengths back early, and then ended up finishing 7th, only 4 lengths back. And so it was really just kind of picking off horses coming down the stretch. So I really like that. I really like the last work as well, the 3 furlong gate work, which was a bullet. Really tries to get this horse to go out of the gate a little bit faster. If this horse can get out earlier and a little quicker, I like it. And then Simon Callahan,
the race we're watching, she's the 3. Just not meaning to interrupt.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Right? That's the race. And like,
that.
And so I think, you have a decent start, and this horse should be right there. Simon Callahan, 18% maiden second start. So that's why I landed on Dream a Dream.
And what's interesting, so she's last in the race, and she has to move kind of in between, and then she has to move wide. But if you'll notice, when this race finishes, so she's going to have to move in between here, and then she kind of angles around. But when you look at the finish of this race, so the winner wins by about 4 lengths, and then look at the rest of the group and where the 3 is, Dream a Dream, right? She's right with the rest of this group after that slow start in a race that was won by a horse who won by 4+ lengths. So 3+ lengths. Her barn is actually kind of sneaky good with this move. If you pull up Simon Callahan and how they've been recently with their horses that are maidens making their second start. So what you do is you pull it up on the formulator, days between starts, and you go to second career start, and then you go to class, and you go down to maiden, and you just go to all maidens. And you can see how he's done with maidens making their second start. So he's won with 11 of the last 65, but in particular, he's won with 3 of his last 6. And why those horses are relevant to me look at the prices of them. That he's won at 7-1 and 6-1, which is basically right in the range that this horse is. You know, these horses who, and so what does that tell me? Why do I look at that specifically? It tells me that these are horses that probably didn't look like $1 million coming off of their debut race, right? Because if they had a bang up runner-up effort, they wouldn't be 7-1 in their second start. So they were probably horses just like the ones that we're looking at, Matt, where maybe they had a slowish start. They showed a little bit of something because they are 6-7-1. They're not 20-1. So they get a little support, but they're these exact type of horses that we're looking at that he wins with second time out. Dream a dream.
And I think it's worth noting he had Florent Giroux the first time out. And now obviously Flo is I don't know where Flo is this weekend.
Kentucky,
Kentucky
I
Downs.
think
I would imagine. Yeah. But I mean, gets Umberto Rispoli on the turf. So I mean, this is a horse that's attracted good jockeys, which is something I tend to pay attention to in these types of races as well.
Isn't it? Sometimes things just sort of work out for a reason. And you know, Rispoli made the move early. Was it like June before Del Mar started, and he just was not getting live mounts all over the place. It's not that the guy isn't a good rider. You know he's a good rider. We've all seen him be a talented rider. It's just you're in a different place. It's not home. You don't really know everyone. You're not getting as many opportunities. The ones that you're getting aren't as good. And then the pressure is on you to make every single correct move every time. He comes over here, and it was like a weight. Immediately when he got back out here, you could just see like, whoop, right back in the winner's circle.
And Rispoli on the turf is always a very good bet. So,
one of the top riders all throughout the Del Mar meet. He's been riding really well. I was trying to think. I mean, where there is like Dream a Little Dream. We've got Boulevard of Broken Dreams. We could go to Dream On. Matt, has your voice warmed up yet for that? Dream On. I was wondering.
Oh boy, he's hitting all the notes.
Going to morning. Dream a dream. Me and Matt come together on the 2 in race number 2. The deuces are wild. Shout out Vin as we get closer and closer to baseball postseason for my Dodgers. Dream a dream. 8-1 on the morning line. Only cost you $3,000 in your stable dual lineup. Let's move to race number 4. Sniper, you have a horse in race number 4 on the Friday card. Tell us who you're looking at a little later on today at Del Mar.
Yeah, this is a really wide open race where I think, you know, there's some opportunity here to make some money because I'm not really too keen on the horse that will probably be favored, the 10 Tartini. I think he's just compromised by his post position, and you know, I don't really know what they're going to do from out there. It's tough because the horse has shown speed before, or kind of like launches from way back. I'm not really sure where this is going to stand, but I just don't like this horse in this race. The horse inside of Tartini, Backring Luck, has, you know, seems to be lone speed here, but is 0 for 4 in the turf with 1/3. I just don't think he's a turf horse. I mean, his best outing was at Del Mar, but on the dirt last November. So that being said, it will go to my pick, who's number 6, Southern King.
Oh, look at this. You and me come together now with Southern King. Okay.
That's what's up, man.
There we go.
I mean, I think this horse is going to sit the best trip out of everybody here, sitting behind Backring Luck. I want this horse to sit second or third, maybe even fourth, depending. But I don't think this pace is going to be super quick. And Southern King should get first run. I like the jock switch over to Hector Barrios from Ellingwood. The horse got a pretty wide trip the last time. It wasn't the most ideal thing, but I think this horse coming off a year layoff, you know, from February to June, then running in August, I think this horse may be running into good form. I like the last bullet work. I think all systems are go though.
And I really like playing horses like this because just look at how tough of a time he's had getting to the races recently. It's been all like races, layoff lines, just like all the way back to October of 2020, couple months off, runs in January and February, and then has almost a year and a half off from February of 2021 to June of 2022. Shows back up in June. In that June 5th race, it's 6 furlongs because it's a total prep. It's just to get him set up because it's his first start in 15 months, 16 months. And he actually finishes 4th in that race. All 3 of the horses that finish in front of him come back to win their next start.
Yeah.
I'm Corfu comes back to win against 32 claimers. Crash Corrigan comes back to win against first level allowance optional claim or first level allowance Calbred group at Los Alamitos. And then Encroachment comes back again to win against 25, beat 25 and then beat 32 claimers next time out. So you have 3 next out winners, 2 at the level, 1 in actually a protected spot against Calbreds. Southern King was taken back to about 8th of 9, was last on the inside, was 10 lengths off in a race that was won by a wire-to-wire winner, Encroachment. So you're dead last in this race, and then you come closing. It's your first start off of a long, long layoff. Then on August the 12th, as Barry mentioned, it's not a trip that works on the grass often, sitting that wide like this. Southern King is the 8. You can do this on the dirt, and it's fine. You just can't sit this type of trip on the turf. They're 3 wide all the way around. And it's going to catch up.
Yeah, launching from way back at Del Mar is not the thing to do. You got to be kind of close up at the top of the stretch, enough in striking range.
So they're starting to like inch up here and loom up. But unfortunately, at this point, you've been 3 deep now all the way around the racetrack where everyone else is going to save ground and they're going to start to launch. And the horse still kind of trying.
Still running.
Yeah, like still trying and gaining and not giving up here and not necessarily kind of straightened out. Because I think getting a little tired from the wide journey, but this was not a bad effort at all. Now, with really for the first time putting 2 starts together in how long? Like, look at all these races that have been followed by another layoff and then another layoff and then, we race and then another layoff. This is a good spot for Southern King, as you mentioned, with Barrios jumping back aboard. Let's do it, Sniper.
Not to mention, this horse fits this level probably to a T. It has some tougher races back when he was running more on a regular basis. But this $25,000 level is probably ideal. So I'm expecting a maximum effort here.
That is Del Mar race number 4. That's the 6 Southern King, who will only cost us $3,000 to use in our stable dual lineup in 8-to-1 shots. These are the type of horses that you're looking for, pick 4s, pick 5s that can make your day, 10 to win on an 8-to-1 shot and gets you up around $90. And that's nice. That takes care of a lot of your wagers for the day, just with one winner like that. Race 4, $25,000 claimers going long on the turf. So, Matt, you have the 6th race, I believe, and then Barry and I have race number 8. Tell us who you're looking at in race number 6.
So in race number 6, we are going to the turf for 2-year-olds. This is a $80,000 maiden special weight. And I'm going to give another 8-to-1, which is the number 7. And that is Shirley's Bane. And this is a first-time starter from Jeff Mullins' barn. This is a Justify baby. But more importantly, it's an Unbridled Empire baby. And why is that a big deal? Because Unbridled Empire is one hell of a broodmare and has produced some incredible winners, including a horse that we're probably going to talk about in about 30 minutes, which is Arklow, who is one of the favorites at Kentucky Downs in the Kentucky Turf Cup this weekend. Not just produced Arklow, but produced Maraud, a lot of really good horses, and more importantly, a lot of horses that won first time out, and a lot of horses that won first time out going long on the turf. And so there's a lot to like there from a pedigree standpoint. I really love the works that Mullins has been putting this filly through. If you go back and look at that August 29th, August 22nd, August 15th workout, all basically like minute flat 5 furlong works. Really, really solid. And then gave the horse a little bit of a breeze and a 4 furlong work this last time, which is kind of something a lot of people will attribute this to like a Steve Asmussen thing, like where you see a lot of really crisp works and then kind of one slow work right before they run. And so it's something that I like to see trainers do in a lot of cases, particularly for first time starters. And so the combination of pedigree, distance, workouts, trainer. I just like kind of everything here. And again, at 8-1 in a field where there's a lot of unknowns, I just am always hesitant to spend up on horses like that. I mean, we saw that just yesterday. Kentucky Downs, Sharp as Attack, was a horse that was, 6-5, I think on the morning line was going to cost $9,800 at Kentucky Downs, ran second, and now you're sitting there from a stable duel standpoint. You go, man, I almost spent 10 grand and got 35 points for it. That's not a great return on investment. I'd much rather go and try to attack a horse like Shirley's Bane, 8-1, $3,000. This horse finishes underneath. That's okay. Finishes second, third. I'm still getting really positive points for well below market value from a standpoint of stable duel. So I really like the combination of things that this horse has to offer.
You think darkness is your ally? You merely adopted it. I was born into the darkness. Little Bane. I love that line. I love when anyone brings that line and someone says something about the dark and then someone responds with the Bane line, like not in a bad. So I love me that Bane. Actually, I do. That Batman gets sort of maligned a little bit, but I like the sequence.
It was really good.
It's a really good Batman.
I like the sequences of him having to go back and get out of the hole in that prison that he's in and the client. Like
I also think the first 3-minute set piece of Bane escaping the airplane is freaking amazing.
Right at the beginning,
set piece in the beginning. And I mean, Christopher Nolan, for all of his, is a hell of a director. And my hot take is actually, I prefer the Dark Knight the least out of those three. That I go kind of 1 is my favorite, 3 is my second favorite, and 2 is my least favorite.
And 2 in the middle.
The 2 just goes so damn long. It's just such a long.
There are a couple times where you think it's over, and then
there's a lot of false
20
finishes
minutes where it feels like it could have been a clean ending right there, and then they keep going. It's not as if it's bad, but it just I agree with you. It keeps going.
Yeah,
I enjoy all of them, and you know what? Christian Bale was just in Thor: Love and Thunder. He was fantastic in that movie as the villain, just incredible. And
he's kind of a jerk, so that makes sense.
Yeah, and you're right. And he plays a good Batman. He does. I think he does. He does play a pretty damn good Batman. So
he does. And I'm a sucker for Anne Hathaway too. So there's that. So,
let's move to race number 8, Barry. I think you and I both have. I was about to slip into Bane voice. I was I didn't even realize I was. I got to give a shout out. That reminds me of when I was playing soccer in high school, and one of the best players on our team, one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. His name was Michael Gerbervok, and his family was from Croatia, and he had this big, beautiful family, and they would bring people over all the time and make food for them and wine and all this stuff. But the guy is great. And he comes off the field one time, and I'm sitting on the bench with my coach, and we're laughing. It was at the end of a game. It was something funny was happening. We were just about to pull Michael out of the game because he was a really good player. And he was flustered because he kind of got into a pushing match with some guy. And you could tell it was sort of impacting him, but we were all kind of laughing because the game was sort of out of hand and it was getting funny. And Michael comes over, and he's so flustered he doesn't realize that he starts talking to us in Croatian. He just comes over and he's like, and he just starts going, and both of us are like, what? And then he's like, oh, did you see them, coach? They were hanging on my arm, and he's grabbing, but it was so funny. He just slipped right into it. He did not even realize that he was talking Croatian to us, and we were laughing. So I always love that when you can hear someone that maybe not realize what language that they're speaking in. I'm only smart enough to speak in one language. I can't even really get a lot of my English straight. So I don't really have multiples that I can go to, but I can go to race number 8, Barry. Let's see if we can pick a winner out for the folks today. I
don't know. We might be on the same horse here. I have a feeling we might be. And just to give the race rundown, this is a claimer, $40,000, going a mile on the turf course at Del Mar, the Jimmy Durante, if you will. I ended up on number 7, First Premio.
There we go. We are not on the same horse, but I do I do think First Premio is interesting. But I'll let you talk about First Premio. But what's nice, where I am right now, I've had such a bad couple months that all of the horses I give out get in trouble, so I can just give the same horse out again. the next time they run. It's
Nice.
like, oh yeah, they got in trouble. Let's just go back to the well again.
Hey, I did that. Well, I did that with a winner at Saratoga who,
You did,
who
and
actually
that horse-
just missed.
That one, oh my God, that was
Just
Buck,
missed.
your boy
Yeah.
Buck, man, dancing Chuck
Mhm.
and Buck over there just missed. So tell us about First Premio.
Yeah, first Premio. I mean, if you want to pull up that first race there, the replay, I was getting a little bit of trouble. I'm trying to think if I picked this horse
So
the
coming
last
up.
time. I may have on this day.
So
Actually,
first-
no, I did, but I wasn't. I was in Saratoga. That's what it was. I played this horse,
yeah,
but I was
see,
at
I only
Saratoga
know-
that day.
I only know based on the fact that I was doing the Laura Dern "It's My House" when in this race. So like, I only know things based on the last song that I sang when this race came up. That's how I like monitor things. Tell us
Yeah,
a little bit about
he's the
First Premio.
two. He's the two in this race, and he kind of gets a really great trip. I mean, you see him in the pocket spot. If those of you familiar with harness racing, the pocket spot is where you want to be. Not necessarily so much in flat racing. It can work to your advantage sometimes, but you know, this is actually a race where it kind of works to his advantage, but he kind of gets out a little bit late. But you see he's tucked in, sitting a good trip, you know, kind of a little bit fresh. I think the rider had to kind of wrestle with him to kind of
Yeah,
settle him down.
wanted to go.
And I think that plays a factor in the way he finishes here. So you'll see them, you know, come around the turn, and he kind of has to wait a little bit to get room to run.
Yep.
Which this is what I was talking about earlier, where, you know, sometimes that pocket trip kind of works against you a little bit.
You're just
But he-
rolling the dice right here.
Right. See how he's kind of waiting and looking
He's trying
around.
to go
He-
in between, and it's not
And it's
really
not-
opening.
Right. And I think the horse kind of hesitated more than the rider did. But now he finally gets it, comes through a race that he probably needed after being off for a little while. Something must have went amiss because he was avoided claim back in November 25th of 2021, came back in this race in August. So it ran a pretty bang up race, and this horse
Yeah.
has some races to go back to. If you look at his
Mhm.
races back in May,
He's got some
2021,
backlash,
March,
for sure.
February, I mean, any one of those efforts would win this race. So
Yep.
you know, second time out, I'm thinking the improvement, the little slight drop in class. I think this is a go with all the speed towards the inside. He gets it a great trip.
Very nice spot for First Premio at 6-1. Will only cost you 5,000 in your stable dual lineup. I joked because I gave out Coast of Rhone last time out. I thought it was a really nice spot for Coast of Rhone.
Do it again.
He was first start off the claim
Coming up.
for Jeff Mullins. Poor Coast of Rhone was in the race that we were just talking about with the sniper, and he had trouble, just kind of a different sort of trouble trip. So he's the 8 in here. So right off the bat, not the greatest of beginnings when the 10 is quick and clears over and you get a little bit of bumping, but he's in an okay spot right now. He's settling fine, like he's traveling okay, but you can just see it sometimes, you know, like especially me, because I'm such a pessimist right now with the way I've been going. I know immediately I'm like, oh, here we go. So you're caught in between with Coast of Rhone. And so now you're sort of surrounded, but you end up moving up into an okay spot. So now he's moved down towards the inside a little bit. You're not in a bad spot. He's sitting about 6th, 7th. That's 6 lengths off. But unfortunately, once the 9 goes up to the outside, now he really gets caught in a bad spot because he's surrounded and he's starting to travel well. He wants to go. This is when he's trying to move up, but where's he going to go? The 2 and the 3. Hey, Barry, get First Premio out of there, man. You're backing up right into me. Seriously, you know, First Premio's right in front of him, and he's just got nowhere to go. So now he's just waiting. He's just waiting. And it's exactly what was happening to Barry's horse is happening to my horse because they're right next to each other. You know, like he's right behind him. He's just at the mercy of what's going to open up now. Now, Coast of Rhone is right in the middle. Again, just waiting. But where's he going to go? Where's he going to go? He can't shift to the outside. He's blocked in by the 8. He can't get in. Tried to get in through there. Oh,
Yeah, just
Nope.
ran up.
because what
into
ended up
heels.
happening when the hole that First Premio tried to go in, it wasn't big enough, but then it opens and then it closed the hole for Coast of Rhone. Like all of these things that were happening to both of our horses almost like identically. They were like domino effects. So he just never got a shot there. And now you have Flavian Pratt jumping aboard, who's like, hey, everybody, I'm back. So good luck trying to win some races here. Like he's just got this little bounce in his step when he comes back over here. Coast of Rhone for me, First Premio for Barry.
We might got an exacta there, man.
I know. We both
I like both of those horses.
Me too. And we both think it's a race where, maybe the favorites are vulnerable. That's Friday. Del Mar, your
no chalk zone, sir.
Del Mar Friday of the meet. This is the no chalk zone. None allowed whatsoever. Let's head to Saturday and turn the page. We'll talk a little Kentucky. We'll talk a little Del Mar. Maddie, tell me and tell everybody what games we can play on Saturday for Kentucky Downs for Stable Duel.
Well, for Kentucky Downs on Saturday, there are two games. There's a low dollar and a high dollar. So there is a $5 game with a $500 pot and a $50 game with a $5,000 pot for Kentucky Downs. So if you want to just dip your toe in, opportunity to do that. If you want to go for a little bit of a bigger price, you can absolutely do that as well. And then same sort of setup at Del Mar on Saturday, $2 game or a $30 game. The $2 game has a $150 pot, and the $30 game has a $1,500 pot. And just to mention them, they also have Saturday games at Canterbury for $6 and Gulfstream Park, where they have a $40 game, double up as well.
Well, what was nice about one of the horses I gave out last week at Kentucky in the 5th race, well, the race got canceled, so I didn't lose. So I can come right back again and give that same horse out this week and feel pretty good about it. So I figured might as well do that. I'm going to move to race number 5, and I'm looking at a horse to the outside who I actually really like quite a bit in this spot. And it's the number 10 Cavalry Charge. Cavalry Charge, I think, Barry, you have a horse in here. We'll both talk about the 5th. Cavalry Charge has been facing your guys' buddy, Santin, recently. In 3 of his last 5 races, he's been behind Santin. In those races, honestly, he's a little overmatched. I don't think he is with the top best turf distance horses, but he might be a cut right below. I think this is a good spot for Cavalry Charge. He's also cutting back to a mile. So his most recent races, he's going a little bit farther against a little bit tougher. That's probably a little difficult for him. Now, this is a really good level. He's proven at Kentucky on the turf here. He is getting some class relief. He actually beat Some Like It Hot Brown 2 starts back at Indy on the turf, and Some Like It Hot Brown is 9-2, I think, and he's 12-1 on the morning line. And looking at the way the race shapes up, I think he's going to sit a trip because Cavalry Charge isn't as fast as the horses right inside of him. Tut's Revenge is faster. Injunction's faster. Some Like It Hot Brown is faster. I would love this horse to sit 4th from the outside. And whereas at Del Mar, when we showed you a trip just a minute ago, sitting 3 wide on the turf, that's not the trip that you want. One of the few turf courses where it doesn't really hurt you to be wide is at Kentucky. With the style of the turf course, the way it's built, it's undulating, it's deep. It doesn't hurt you as much if you're sitting 3 deep or 4 deep on a turf course and you're out in the clear. So for me, in race number 5, I'm looking at the 10 Cavalry Charge, 12-1 on the morning line, only $750 in your Stable Duel lineup. If this horse is anything in the 6-1 above range, I think that's a fair price to make a win wager if you're looking to do so. That's where I kind of think this horse fits. So Cavalry Charge for me, the number 10 in race 5. Barry, who are you looking at here?
Yeah, I took a long look at Cavalry Charge and decided against it because I didn't really know or could get a good feel on what kind of trip that horse would get. I know the 6, 8, 9, and Some Like It Hot Brown are all going to be speedy in here. And as long as Joel Rosario can keep this horse in touch with the field, I like Pixelate quite a bit here. He has some races that will easily handle these. Won this race last year, actually, under Rosario kind of going away. Is kind of pulling the same maneuver that he did last year, and that's what really got me into this horse. If you see I don't know, what the full name of that race is at Pimlico, that they ran at Laurel this year. He ran in that race and finished he actually won that race last year, but I guess the timing is different because it was in June last year. It
Yeah.
was July this year. But you'll see the race before, it was a mile and an eighth. It was the Buckland at Colonial, finished third with Joe Bravo. And this year, kind of doing the same thing. Ran this mile and an eighth race at Laurel, and then coming into the Mint Million. So I just think that this horse is they're trying to repeat what they did last year. Horses are creatures of habit. I think this horse is going to be in the right spot, considering all the speed to the outside. Like I said, as long as Joel keeps him close enough, I think he should be all right coming down the stretch.
Pixelate try to come flying late in race number 5 at Kentucky on Saturday. So me and Barry will both go. Barry will go to the 8th. I have one in the 9th. Matt, you are looking at races 8, 9, or 8, race 8. Okay, tell us who you're looking at in race number 8. Now, a lot of these races, this Saturday Kentucky Downs card is awesome, where there's like 6 graded stakes races on the card because you had some that were rescheduled from a couple of the canceled cards. So, Matt, who are we looking at in the 8th race?
Yeah, so the 8th race is the turf sprint, and obviously this is 6 furlongs over that undulating Kentucky Downs turf. And so I actually kind of have 2 plays that I'll give out, and they're right next to each other. I like the 8 and the 9. And so the 8 is Bran at 6-1. He's actually the second choice on the morning line. This is the beauty of large turf fields, is that you can get a pretty good horse for low value on stable duels. So you can get a horse that's 6-1. It's a little bit like playing the Ascot contests, where it's like, oh, this is the second choice and it's only $3,000 or something like that. And it's great. So Bran's going to cost you $5,000. Here's the thing I like about Bran, especially at this price. It's just an incredibly consistent horse. Like, the horse just doesn't run poorly. Like, the only time it ran poorly in North America was when it got caught 6 wide in its second time out. Otherwise, this horse runs up against Arrest Me Red, Gregorian Chant, and either kind of runs ahead of them, right behind them. He's always right there, has a couple of wins, is a graded stakes winner. What I like about him in this spot, especially why I'm kind of fading Arrest Me Red, who's the favorite in this race, is the course, quite frankly. Arrest Me Red has never run at Kentucky Downs. And more importantly, Arrest Me Red, who I think is the 12 horse in this field, is, there he is. And one of the things you'll notice is he's never run over 6 furlongs sprinting. He ran over 6 furlongs once before. A lot of times with Kentucky Downs, I like to look at horses that have run 6.5 furlongs. That downhill turf course in Santa Anita is a nice one. And also, Bran last time out actually ran at a mile. So I like the fact that he can get more distance, and he's a speed horse, but he can rate as well. And so I like that versatility. Let Arrest Me Red go out front and tire himself out. And I like Bran to sit a nice trip here as well. And then the other one as a bigger long shot is Front Run the Fed. And I think, this is a horse that's 15-1 on the morning line. It's only going to cost you $500. And so this is a horse that has been kind of running some route races or some, 2-turn mile turf races and some sprint races. But the thing is, horse for a course, best ever career buyer speed figure at Kentucky Downs 2 years back in this race at 101. I think this horse at 15-1 presents a pretty good value. You look at those speed figures, he's been very, very consistent as well. So I like what Front Run the Fed has to offer from a value standpoint in this race. If you're looking to go and get a horse that's really not going to cost you almost any money and could be in play underneath, I think, in this one.
Yeah, it was, what's funny about this horse is last year when he ran in the at Kentucky Downs, I was baffled. I was like, how is this horse only 4-1?
Yeah.
And it just boggled my mind, but the horse clearly likes that track. So 15-1, I'll definitely take.
Yeah.
I'm right next door to you, Matt. And Barry, I think we will go back because I think you have one in the race before this.
Yeah.
Totally Boss is the horse who I like. So Totally Boss won this race back in 2019, right here at Kentucky Downs, almost like the horse you were talking about. That was a career best for him, winning this race. He earned 101 Beyer speed figure that day. Now let's just sort of look at his career since then. He was 5-1 in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint in his next start. Following that, he's off from November to May, shows back up in May, has a ton of trouble in this race at Churchill Downs in an allowance race. Then he comes back into Shakertown. He just misses behind Leinster and in front of Bound for Nowhere, both of them who come back to win their next start. He tries the turf sprint again. It's a soft course that day. Okay, let's put a line through it. Now the physical issues probably start coming up because he runs in September of 2020. Then he's off all the way till June of 2021. He shows back up in June of 2021, runs, doesn't fire, and then he's off for almost a year. Comes back at Churchill and wins a turf sprint nicely this year in May. And then he's off for a couple months again. He shows back up at Ellis Park and he draws the rail at Ellis in a turf sprint. And we can watch his race. He's the number one. Well, I kind of talk over a little bit. So he draws the inside. And what's going to happen with a horse like this who draws the rail? Well, he's got to have to drop back to last. What do you want him to do? Just get stuck in all that traffic and shuffle all the way back? It's better to just sort of gradually take yourself back so you can be at the back of the pack. He's inside. So right here, he's about 8th of 9. And then things get a little tight for him inside. So he's actually dead last at this point. What's nice is he gets shuffled back so far, though, that he's able to angle to the outside. So it does sort of work out okay for him because now the decision is sort of easy. Hey, we're not going to go back up the inside. Let's just go all the way to the outside. Split horses here and angle all the way around. And this horse starts rolling. How far wide is he lined up here? 7 across the racetrack when they launch out. Now, keep in mind, this was his first start in a couple months. This was his second start in 14 months. This was his third start in the last 2 years. This is a great prep for this race to set him up for this one because he's going to be a little bit sharper. Now, every race that he runs, he should be shaking off some of the rust moving forward. He moves from the inside all the way towards the outside, which is way better for his running style, which is just going to be drop back and make one late run. Totally Boss. Shout out to the boss, Sasha Banks, cousin of Snoop Dogg. She has a little dance here in WWE too when she comes out. I can't really do it. I don't got the hip action that
I was
she
gonna
does.
say I would like to see that.
Yeah, I can't really do that. But shout out to the boss.
This
Sasha
is a PG-13 show.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah,
And I know Matt's dad watches sometimes.
No
too, so we
hip
gotta be,
gyrations.
It's like Elvis. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna
you know
say.
that.
So Barry, I believe you had one in the race right before this, right?
Yeah, in race 8.
Okay, tell us who you're looking at in the 8th.
Yeah, it's a really tough field in the 8th race, which is the ladies turf, which is a grade 3. Now, I ended up on number 4, Lady Spitespear.
I almost picked this horse too.
This was my play as well in this race.
Oh, nice. So we almost all law professored it up.
See,
right
that's
there.
almost a law professor.
Yeah.
She's one of 2 grade 1 winners in this field. Dalika is the other. And just something just doesn't sit right with me in Dalika in this race, and I just
agree.
don't like her at all. I think she's done her best running, actually going way longer, and I don't think the pace kind of sits where she needs it to be for her to launch from way back, which she'll most likely be given the distance of the race. That being said, Lady Spitespear has all the speed. And what I did like is the only horse that does show a little bit of speed is very kind of lower level in Stolen Holiday. And I think Lady Spitespear is quicker than that horse, period. Princess Grace probably doesn't want any part of the lead.
She's
Will
ended
be
up
up
on
close.
it a couple times, but
Right.
she's better tracking, I think. too.
Exactly, yeah. So that leaves Lady Spitespear almost in a lone speed kind of situation. and she's going to be ultra tough. I mean, I've watched this horse a lot, and you can see in her past performances who she's been facing. Speak of the devil, Regal Glory, Bleecker Street beat her twice at Tampa, when she was undefeated, by
No
partisanship.
knocks. Like, no
Yeah,
knocks on her form. None.
right. And I think this is a really kind of maybe even an easier spot than what it looks like initially. So I think she's a good play at 8-1.
3,000 in your stable duel lineup. Matt, tell us a little bit more about Lady Spitespear.
Yeah, she's a horse I just really I was following her last year at Woodbine, and just a horse I just always really liked. And I think, again, you and I talk about this a lot, Gina, will all three of us talk about it a lot, is if you go through even her efforts makes sense in a lot of
Mhm.
cases, stretching out maybe to a new distance before and getting rough trips and things like that. And then,
Yep.
so it makes sense when you go, well, why'd she finish fourth here? Why'd she finish pretty far back there? There's a logical explanation for it. And I think, again, I like seeing horses that can run a little bit longer. Obviously, Lady Spitespear just winning at 1.16 miles last time out. Now over this Kentucky Downs turf, it'll be a mile. So I just, same reasons that Barry pointed out. I think she has the flexibility. She can absolutely be the speed, but if for some reason Stolen Holiday does flash more speed, she's shown the ability to rate too. So she's got that versatility. She doesn't need it. So I like that there. And I just love the value. 8-1 on the morning line. Are you kidding me? I'll absolutely take that. I just feel like this is a great horse to use. And again, kind of like what I mentioned with Bran, she just doesn't turn in a bad effort. Like, she's always going to run well. So even if you don't get a winner, you're going to get a horse that's going to notch you really positive points here.
Remarkably consistent Lady Spitespear. That's in the 8th on Saturday at Kentucky. You have one more in the 10th, right, Matt? In the Turf Cup?
Yeah. And apologies, I skipped over Barry. I'm sorry. I went straight to the 9th. I got so excited about Bran. And
no worries.
That's all right.
It's all good. Tell us who we're looking at. This is the 1.5 miles on the turf, the Grade 2 Turf Cup.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about this because there's a favorite in this race in Gufo, who I'm all the way out on. I love Gufo as a horse, but what the bleep is Christophe Clement doing running this horse back 2 weeks after the Sword Dancer?
When it's weird, I don't know if this course is for him.
I don't know if it's for him either. And this horse has never run back on less than 4 weeks rest in his entire career. So now you're asking this horse, and this is not a sprinter. These are turf marathon horses. Like, they run. You don't see that. You don't see that in America very often. You see it overseas. Over in England, they'll run horses back on shorter rest on long distances. But in America, you just don't see this. And so as a result, I'm going to kind of fade Gufo. And when I fade Gufo, suddenly the board kind of opens up, I think, in a lot of ways. Obviously, a lot of people are going to go to Arklow, who's 7-2 in the morning line, who is a good value and is absolutely a horse for a course, loves Kentucky Downs, 2 wins, 2 second places and 4 career starts. But where I'm going to go is the number 3 horse, Temple. And this is a horse that is 6-1 on the morning line, only going to cost you $5,000. And you're probably going to you get sick of me hearing me say this, but very similar to Bran and Lady Spitespear in that this horse does not turn in a bad effort. This horse is incredibly consistent, manages to get a win here and there, second back from a layoff. Mike Maker has been firing absolute bullets at Kentucky Downs. I mean, his barn is absolutely rolling this meet. So certainly the connections you like. Jose Ortiz jockeyed this horse down at Gulfstream. It's kind of always is on this horse now. So I really like that influence as well. And I think just will sit a good trip, has a lot of versatility, has a lot of ability. And so at 6-1, absolutely, I think has the opportunity to pull the win in the upset here. And then the other horse that I'll give people at a huge price is the number 6 horse, which will only cost you $50, which is Glenn County at 30-1. And this is a lesser version of Arklow, but a little bit of a horse for a course as well. 2 career starts at Kentucky Downs, 1 win, 1 third place. This horse clearly enjoys the turf, runs well here. It had kind of tailed off a little bit this year, had some big runs last year. but I think is kind of getting back into form a little bit. Again, Maker's Barn is firing. And so I think, if you're sitting there and you've been spending a lot of money in Stable Duel and you go, crap, I only got $50 left. Well, I think you could do a lot worse than spending $50 on Glenn County in this race, because I think he'll show up and run well.
Vulnerable favorite sighting for Matt on Saturday over at Kentucky. Barry, you said you have one in the 11th before we turn the page to Del Mar to finish it up. Tell us who you're looking at in race number 11.
Just a quick one. This one was like an adjunct kind of horse that I was kind of on the fence of even talking about, but I think this one is worth talking about because I don't like the favorite in that race. In race 11 is the ladies sprint, which is a grade 3, and Campanelle is the horse to beat at 8-5 on the morning line. And honestly, I think this horse is rather ordinary.
I've never been. I know. I try to beat her a lot too.
Yeah, I mean, clearly there's talent. I mean, there's no question that this horse has talent, but whatever, it just doesn't win. I mean, I see the record. 9 lifetime starts, 5 wins. That looks great, but it's one of those who did she beat type of things.
And they're winning a lot of time off, come back.
Right. There's some issues there, and I just can't trust a horse like this at a short price. And this horse is going to be a short price. So I'm thinking, you gotta play against this horse. And I ended up on the 6, Toby's Heart, who actually won a similar race to this last year, 6.5 furlong race, and I think this might be kind of a horse for the course kind of angle, because she doesn't really run all that spectacular anywhere else, but in the state of Kentucky she kind of runs well. Her win at a stake at Kentucky Downs last year was pretty damn good, and they're kind of coming into this race in a lot better form, I think.
Yeah.
You see the bullets. There's a bullet on the 28th at Churchill Downs, and then another bang up work going a little bit longer, 5 furlongs after that on September 3rd. So I think this horse is going to be ready to roll. And at 15-1, I couldn't pass that up.
Toby's Heart on Saturday at Kentucky. Now, Maddie, I know you have to duck out in just a minute or so. So why don't we head over to Del Mar, and why don't we quickly get a play or two from you, Matt, before you have to exit Del Mar for Saturday. Stable Duel games. You have
the 2 and the $30.
Yeah. So a couple different options for you on Saturday. And tell us where you're looking on Saturday at Del Mar.
Yeah, so Saturday at Del Mar, and thank you for being flexible with me on this.
I
apologize that my real job gets in the way of talking horses.
I mean, seriously,
on Friday mornings. And so, we'll go to the 6th race, which is a 5.5 furlong maiden special weight, $80,000, or I'm sorry, $80,000 for 2-year-olds on the dirt. And this is a pretty stacked field. Admittedly, there's 2 Bafferts. There's a gun runner in here as well, but I'm on the number 3 horse. And that is First Peace. This is a horse trained by Mark Glatt, who's got a fair amount of success with first-time starters. And I was just really impressed by this horse's works. You're looking sub 1 minute, 5 furlong workouts, really been working out like a metronome, and I love to see that. Just the consistency. It's not as if they flashed one big one and then they followed up with a slow one. A lot of consistency there with those 5 furlong works. So Glatt is a guy who really gets horses ready and ready to roll at this 2-year-old age. And again, in these races where you're looking at a bunch of first-time starters, things happen. We watched a bunch of replays where horses hop at the break, or they don't fire the first time out, or they actually want more distance than the 5.5 furlongs. And so I think this is a horse that will acquit itself well in the spot. And at 8-1 for only $3,000, you're getting nice value.
All we are saying is give peace a chance. Let's go to race 9 for Matt's other Del Mar play. The John C. Maybe. Maddie, tell us who you like in the 9th.
Yeah, this one's a pace play, and this is the number 4, Park Avenue, who's 6-1 on the morning line, $5,000. My question is, why can't this horse just wire the field this time? Like this horse
Just
won't
get more
have
aggressive. They tried to sit a little bit last time, right?
Exactly. Got cute and sat and just rated, and I didn't like that. There's zero other early speed in this race. This horse should get out in front and do exactly what it did 2 back, which is just get on the lead and go, and set its own pace and be on the lead. So in this spot, I mean, Glowing Global is certainly a very formidable horse, but otherwise he's run against a lot of these horses before. He's beaten Avenue de France. And so, he can do this if he gets out on the front end and can dictate his own terms. And it certainly looks like that will be the case here, rather than trying to rate and kind of, like I said, get cute last time out. So second back from a brief layoff. I think the pace sets up well here for him. 6-1, $5,000. I'll play Park Avenue in the John C. Maybe.
That's Park Avenue for Matt and Maddie. Good luck to you this weekend. Our friend Vegas Magic is running in the race right before, and she's going to be pretty tough in there too. She's 3-1 in that grade 1 race, and she's probably the horse they'll all have to beat. She's the most proven of them, so yeah. I'd love to see her get a nice grade 1 victory there.
I'd love to see her get me 15-1 again, but that probably won't happen.
So. No, probably won't get that one again. Yeah. Matt, thank you so much, buddy. Yeah. Really appreciate it. We know you have to run right now, so we look forward to seeing you again next week. Good luck with all your plays, and have an awesome weekend, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
You too. My man.
Take care, fellas.
See you.
Matt DeSantis. He'll be back with us next week again. So, Barry, let's finish up Del Mar, you and me. I believe you have one in the 3rd race. Tell us who you're looking at in race number 3 on the Saturday card.
Well, I couldn't resist not picking a horse in this 5-furlong turf event.
This is
my zone.
This is you.
That's my zone. This is an optional claimer, 40,000. And there's a ton of speed to the rail. Straight No Chaser, 4-1 on the line, off a maiden win at Del Mar, going 5. Just straight up speedball. He's got to get out of the gate. Encroachment, another one. No good unless he's on the lead. Mm-hmm. And that kind of, sets it up for the horse that I like, who isn't going to be that far off the lead. And we're going to throw one downfield. And I like the 11 King of Speed. This horse's efforts on the turf have been very, very good. Albeit, especially lately, far and few in between, which I don't understand why. I guess that's not for me to understand. But I think this horse is just as good as anybody in this race.
I know the turf races
at this
really
level.
Good.
Yeah, and even the last one, July 28th, gets Rispoli and ran a bang-up race behind Maven, who's pretty sharp right now.
Yeah.
And the fact that this horse isn't going to be too far back is the appeal, because these horses up front are going to be motoring. And again, launching from way back isn't the thing to do. I don't like that move on the Del Mar turf, and you'll get that in the favorite here in Gregory's Pride. He's going to be way back. And horses like that get beat all the time. There's not really, any world beaters in here. And I think King of Speed can get the trip and get it done.
Just to give you an idea, so the horse that King of Speed finished in front of last time out was named Redline, and Redline has come back and has run second in back-to-back races at this level on the dirt. So just from a class standpoint, can this horse fit with a group like this? Well, yeah. Just looking at who they've been facing and who they've been competitive with. I like this play too, Barry, with the number 11 here, because
if he's 15-1, conservatively 15-1,
and they dismiss a horse. That's what ends up happening. They see like the 1,000-yard quarter horse races and some of the races at Losal, and they just dismiss them.
We get our price, if not more.
Yep.
And if this horse wins, it's we're going to Sizzler. So
those are very difficult races. Sometimes at Losal, they come up really, really tough there. So that's Saturday. Race number 3 for the Sniper at Del Mar. I'm going to go to race number 5. It looks like you're also going to be in the 5th race with me.
Are we on the same horse?
I don't know. I am going to start with the 1, Coalinga Road. So we're in different spots here. Coalinga Road was behind Goliad last time out. And that was a race that just got completely strung out because Goliad was so fast and was able to open it up. And then Coalinga Road was behind inside, and everything got crowded and jumbled up because when they all started to move inside, there was a big clumping of horses. He actually ran really, really well. He was shifting around a bunch late. He finished second. It was a career best effort. And if you're worried because that was a bigger speed figure than he's earned in prior races, I mean, if you just put a line through that race and look at his form prior to it, his form has always been really nice and really solid. He wasn't far behind Hotbox a couple starts back. Air Force Red and Mubtada, that's a strong race. Air Force Red came back and ran pretty well against Stakes Company over the weekend, and that's a horse who's tough on the front end. I think it's a nice spot for Coalinga Road. He doesn't have to be as far back as he was because they were going so fast early on there. So I think he can save ground from the inside, have some options. He's run well on the Del Mar turf course. He's 5-1. That'll cost you $6,000 in your stable dual lineup. I'm looking at Coalinga Road, Barry, in race number 5. Tell us where you're going to go.
Yeah, I had a slightly different view of this race. I went with number 4, Dominant Soul, at 8-1 on the morning line. And for the only reason that this horse should be Lone Speed.
Yeah.
And I don't see any other horse. I mean, maybe Bang for Your Buck, but I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah, well, Bang for Your Buck. But that's the only horse that could really show or has shown any kind of speed, and that was last race. And I don't even think that horse wanted to do it.
And that was last race. He
Right.
drew the rail.
Through the rail.
And it was like, hey, let's
they
just
made
go.
him go. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it ended up working out. Maybe they'll try it again, but I'm gonna gamble against that. And I think Dominant Soul, this is what this horse does. And she may be able, or he may be able to get, shake loose kind of halfway through this race and put him away. I like the mile trip. There's really no other speed. The trainer's doing well at this meeting, owner trainer. So why not?
And look at, back here when he wasn't getting the lead, he was behind Encroachment, who we just saw as a horse, as like a speed horse that's really, really quick. So he couldn't get the lead in a race where there was another quick horse. He's behind Law Professor here, right when Law Professor started to get really, really good and rattled off like a bunch of good races in a row.
Smooth like straight. Pixelate is in there.
Yeah,
so,
Evening Sun got sharp too. Dominant Soul now showing more speed recently. Looks like the one to catch and possibly beat in here. Dominant Soul for the Sniper, 8-1 on the 4 in race number 5 at Del Mar. I have 2 more that I want to mention later in the card before we get out of here. One of them is in the Del Mar Debutante, which is race number 8. We talked about Vegas Magic. I think the maiden's a little interesting in here. Ice Dancing. This filly debuted against Maiden Specials. She finished 3rd. She was like a little slow, and she was a couple lengths behind and Tell Me No Lies, but she just didn't have a whole lot of pace to run at that day. Now, if the race shapes up where the 6 Home Cooking flashes a little bit of speed, if you have Fast and Shiny, who's a Baffert, they're both Bafferts right next to each other, so we'll see if they do. But then you also have And Tell Me No Lies. I think there might be 3 horses who can all, be forwardly placed. And at this distance of 7 furlongs, I think Ice Dancing is really interesting with Pratt jumping aboard, getting a little bit more. I don't have problems playing maidens in these early stakes races at 2, Barry, because sometimes these horses just want to get more distance,
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we've had a maiden win a Breeders' Cup race, so there's that. Yeah, I like this horse a lot, actually. Now that you pointed out, I think that was a good setup for this race, and the outside draw also appeals to me as well.
And you can just tell Mandela's pretty high on this filly, and this is really like the spot that they've been waiting for all along. I think they just wanted to make sure they got a race under her a few weeks ago, got her a little fitness. She ran well, and now they should be going a little quicker in here early. Pratt jumps aboard. He'll have her in a good spot. Ice Dancing. This is the real.
Yeah, good luck with that 8-1 though.
I was going to say,
I wish
for Stable Duel, it's beautiful.
It's perfect. Yeah.
But probably 4-1, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
half that. Yeah, I was thinking
that makes
half
sense
that.
to me. This is the real. Yeah, 8's wild. The 8 at 8-1 in race 8 on Saturday. So that's in the 8th race, and then one more to close things out in race number 11. So this is a horse who I actually gave out a couple months ago on this show. Sniper, my friend.
Uh-oh.
Never mind, I'd find somebody like you. We got to go back to Adeli. Adeli had another trouble trip last time out, and she's 10-1. So we played Adeli on May the 7th. She finished 5th that day, and the day that we played her was on June the 4th because I was playing her off of the May 7th race where she had some trouble. And her June 4th race, it wasn't bad. She finished 4th. She was 4 lengths off. It was okay. She didn't really seem all that comfortable. She kind of wanted to go. She was sort of pulling a little bit. She had a few months off. She shows back up on August the 4th, and I thought she ran really well in this spot. So she's the number 5 in this race that we're watching right here, and she's 7th early on or so. A little bump at the start, but nothing too bad. About 7th. She's about 8 lengths off where she settles, and you could tell she kind of wants to go a little bit. They take her back to keep her out of a tight spot right there, and they have her settle behind the one horse on the inside. So now she's able to get into kind of a comfortable spot. And what I liked is just watching her. You can always tell she's traveling pretty well. Like, she doesn't ever seem like she's like they're having to keep her up with her or have to work to keep her in the race. And she's in a nice spot. But again, you can just see it happening, right? When the horses to her
back up.
When the horses get to her outside, and then they're going to back up in front of her, and then she just gets kind of buried a little bit. You know, she ends up kind of waiting, and now she's traveling well, but she doesn't have
still
a lot
waiting.
of room.
You can see the jockeys kind of
they're having to back up a little bit. You know, they're having to back off, and it's just a tough situation to be in because now where do you go? She's backed up again, and she's lost that positioning. She's lost a couple lengths, but there is an opening now, and she's able to see it, and she quickly responds. Boom, let's move inside of the 5, and let's just stay here on the rail and do our best. So she moves back through really, really nicely. She's trying again to figure out, where am I going to go? Okay, let's go to the outside. Now let's shift out here. So went all the way from the inside all the way to the outside and really starts. Now look at when he asks how she's responding really nicely and picking up pieces. She had no shot to finish better than that, but it's not always linear with every horse, right? And maybe I was a couple races too early with Adeli, but she does seem like she's trending in the right direction right now with like 3 or 4 races where she's running well. Her figures are improving. She's got like sneaky trouble. Now she's towards the outside. Maybe they just take back and just wait and press the button and make one big late run down the outside. I want to make sure in pick 4s and pick 5s and stuff that I have her in the last race closing, because I think she can win this race. She's not far off of what it would take to beat, some of the top contenders in here. She's been behind Vivano and Kitty Katana, but Kitty Katana is 5-2 in the race that we were just watching.
Right.
Did she look like that horse was that much better than that? You know what I mean? And then we look at the other horses she was right behind with prior to that with Vivando, where she wasn't that far behind Vivando. These are horses that are going to be shorter prices than her, and you're going to get nice value with Stable Duel.
Yeah, I think Kitty Katana probably doesn't want to go a mile.
Right?
I think that horse might want to be cut back going 6, or probably be better off at Santa Anita,
down
the hill or the flat 6.5. Either way, I think that trip's better. And honestly, Adeli's past performance and running lines kind of looks similar to Kitty Katana's. Despite even with that bad trip the last time, that was a pretty bad trip.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just weave in and out of in and out of traffic like that and expect to win. If that horse gets a clear run straight, they probably would have been a lot closer. So yeah, that's a good find.
You back up, you lose some positioning, and then you have to come on again. It's funny when you play these horses, sometimes you watch them back a few times, and Adeli, maybe she can get there for us today. Don't forget me, I beg, I remember you said. Sniper, my friend, another week in the books. Always love chatting races with you. Always love chatting races with Matt DeSantis. We will be here with you each and every week. We'll be talking every Friday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time, 7 a.m. Pacific time. It is the No Chalk Zone. All we want to do is give out big price horses that can really help you with your stable dual lineups, with pick 4s, with pick 5s. That's our job here. It's always going to be 5-1 plus. We're always looking at daily racing form. You can go to drf.com. I'm a fan of the Formulator PPs. That's what we're always looking at here, Formulator. We can pull up the race replays. We can pull up the charts. We can pull up the pedigree information. We always love hearing from you. We always love talking with all of you out there. If you ever want to share any of your selections with us. And, I've been missing our buddy Jake recently. We'll have to see if Jake can jump on with us next week and give out a play or two. Old Jake from Thrilling Picks. Thanks so much, everyone, for hanging out with us on this Friday. Good luck closing weekend, Del Mar. My friend Sniper, good luck to you. Football opening weekend too. An awesome weekend with so much cool sports happening. I hope you all crush it with your stable dual plays and your weekend best bets. Now, one more time on this Friday morning, we throw it to the unofficial partner of this show, Joey Cleveland.
Better, you want to spread your pony